Hi guys, today I'm going to be doing a tutorial type video where I'll be drawing an eye, a nose and a mouth in both a stylistic way and a realistic way. This is just a simple tutorial and a more in-depth tutorial will be posted later. So for the stylistic eye, I begin by drawing a few lines to mark out the shape of the eye. I base the shape off of a sort of almond shape. Once I've got the top hood of the eyelid drawn, I then begin on the eyelashes. To draw eyelashes, I just keep my hand like light and loose and I just flick my wrist to make sure that they are curved. And with a stylized eye, I don't like to do too many lashes, just a few or just enough. Sometimes you'll see me only doing 3. And I basically repeat the same steps for the bottom lashes, but smaller, slightly smaller, and when they're curved, they're curving downwards instead of upwards. Some of the lashes, I group them together by, instead of drawing a single lash, I'll make it like a triangle, so it joins with another lash. I'm not sure if that makes any sense, but hopefully you understand. For the iris, I do a sort of upside down semicircle, but if you were to turn it into a full circle, you'd see that it goes over the eyelids. This is because when you're looking at an eye, you don't see the full circle unless they're opening their eyes really wide. For the pupil, I basically just draw another little circle inside it, depending on the direction in which the eye is looking. The circle could be a semicircle, just like the iris, or it could be a full circle. And just to give the sketch some more depth, I like to shade around it a little bit, just on the top half of the eye. Finally, I draw the eyelid, which is basically just a mirror of the top of the eye, but like a lot thinner. And then I like to add a few like freckles. I only do this if the character has freckles, of course, but for the demo I decided to add freckles because I just felt like it, and freckles are pretty nice. And with that, that's the stylized eye complete. So for the shape of the realistic eye, it is similar in some ways. It is still like a sort of almond shape, but we connect all the lines together this time, and the space between the top lid and the bottom lid will be much closer. And much like the stylized eye, the iris will be a semicircle, and inside it will be the pupil, which will also be a circle. Once I've done what you can see here on the screen, I move on straight to the rendering, since if we put in the eyelashes now, they will be lost when we do the skin of the upper eyelid. To begin with rendering, I first shade in the darkest parts, which would be the creases in the eyelids and the pupil. Once I've gotten that dark enough and as dark as I want it, I begin drawing the iris, and I do this by doing like little sort of spikes out. It's different for each eye, so it will be different for each reference. But the best advice that I could possibly give is just sort of try and copy the shapes in the iris and draw them onto your page. And if you're drawing from memory, then you can do some random like oval type shapes or straight lines coming out, because each iris is unique and different, so it all goes down to your reference. While drawing, make sure that before you start rendering, you've saved a spot to keep white for the highlights, because unless you have a super powerful rubber or a gel pen, there's no way you're going to get the white of the page back after filling it in with the graphite. Trust me, it will be way darker than it could be, because it could be really sharp and white, so that's why it's better to leave the white of the paper. If you left too much, you can always come over it, but if you didn't leave enough, there's no way you could bring the white back in unless you have a gel pen or a really powerful eraser, and that's not that common. When drawing the iris, the outer edge is most likely to be darker than towards the inside, so it will be dark, then fade into light, and then suddenly it will be dark again when you get to the pupil. For the shading of the skin around the eye, I basically just follow where the skin goes and where the skin is, and pick out the colours from my reference photo. And in the eyelid, I add some creases with darker lines. When it comes to the eyelashes, I like to thicken up the upper waterline before adding the eyelashes. I do one in each of the two corners of the eye and one right in the middle. Since we're looking at the eye face on, the one in the middle will be straight and the ones on the side will be curved. Basically, the further away from the center of the eye the eyelashes are, the more curved they will be, and the closer they get, the straighter they will get. And I like to mark out these 3 lashes to give me a sort of guide. When drawing eyelashes, I like to vary it a bit. So I will do single lashes, but I will do the odd clumped lash together, or making thicker lashes after using light, loose hand to draw the flick of a lash. I might go in with a more controlled grip and make it a bit darker or a bit thicker, and I will make them vary on length, or sometimes make them crisscrossing, just a few, not too much, to make it not look too crazy. And when I'm doing the lashes, I make sure that my wrist is loose to ensure that it's more natural and curved rather than looking like cockroach legs. And I repeat the same thing on the bottom lashes. However, I don't normally make them too crazy, because they tend to be less thick and less long than the top lashes. Also, when drawing lashes, you don't need to make them perfectly or exactly like the reference, because that's just too time consuming and ain't nobody got time for that, okay? And they'll still turn out perfectly fine. Usually the lashes are the last thing I do, so once I've done that, I just fix up a few things that I think need fixing up to make it look a bit better, and then you're good to go. Upon drawing a stylized nose, it's pretty simple and pretty quick to explain. These normally take me a matter of seconds to complete. I begin by drawing a circular or ovular shape. On the corners, I draw like little curved lines. These are going to be the corners of the nose. And inside that, I draw the nostrils, which will be sort of like little nuggets, I guess. And then on top of that, I'll draw like a circle. And then towards the top of like the bridge of the nose, then I just draw 2 little lines to represent the bridge of the nose. And that's it. That's how I draw a nose in a stylized way. Sometimes I will add freckles onto it, just like I did underneath the eye. Freckles are adorable, okay? But like off topic, I know a few people who are like insecure about having freckles, but they're actually gorgeous. And like whenever I'm drawing, this is something I will do if it doesn't look right or it looks absolutely hideous and I've drawn it in maybe like a biro pen. There's no fixing the proportions. It's higgledy-piggledy, or at least not too higgledy-piggledy. Like if it's really higgledy-piggledy, I'll just scrap the whole thing, or just leave it there and start again. But if it can do a bit of salvaging, I'll just add a few freckles and then it's good as new. Boom. When drawing a realistic nose, I also start with a circle or an oval at the very bottom where the actual nose and nostrils is going to be. And then I like to draw a sort of triangle up to the top of, in like the middle of the bridge of the nose. And then I draw the bridge of the nose sprouting from about the middle of that triangle. And it's not like an equilateral triangle, it's like an isosceles triangle, so 2 sides are longer than the base. This could vary depending on what type of nose you're drawing or whose nose you're drawing. And then I also draw that little oval, but I draw it more in a circular way, because there is a bit in front of your nose that like sticks out a bit more. And then under that I'll draw the little nuggets for the nostrils. And then that's it for the sketch, and then we're on to the rendering. For adding tone, there is some basic like foundations where there almost always will be tone. Obviously it varies on the lighting situation, but for the basic straightforward, say the lighting is just looking straight at the nose, there will be shadows in the corners and also underneath the nostrils, because the tip of your nose will be pointing outwards. There will also be shading on the 2 corners of the bridge of the nose, but don't overdo it. Don't overline it, because I've done that before, trust me. The picture literally used to be my profile picture. It got removed pretty quickly, but it's just not very pleasant, and it makes it look a bit 2D opposed to 3D if you have too harsh lines. So make sure it's not too dark. When drawing stylized lips, it's also as simple as the nose. I basically just draw a line that's slightly curved upwards for a smile, or slightly curved downwards for like a frown, and then I sort of shade around it to form the lips, like the colour of the lips. That's when I'm doing a sketch, but then to refine it more, I'll go around the outline of that to make it look more like lips. It's really simple. It looks really simple on its own, and it barely even looks like lips on its own, to be honest, but when you put it on a face, it looks more like lips. For realistic lips, I first begin by drawing a straight line. Then I shape it into a very subtle M. I mirror the top of that M right above it for the top of the lip, and then connect it to the corners of the lips. Then for the bottom, I just go the same distance or a little bit more than I did for the top lip down, and then I do a dash and connect the lips together. Tone, I shade in the top of the bottom lip and in the corners of the bottom lip. I also shade in the corners of the top lip and a little bit towards the middle, because there's like this little bump on your lip that sort of sticks out, so when you shade it, it will show. After that, I basically fill in the gaps with lighter shade, and then I keep playing around with it until it looks right. This is a very simple version of realistic lips. And that's all for today. There's your tutorial on how to do a stylized eye, nose and mouth, and a realistic looking eye, nose and mouth. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, make sure that you smash that like button, subscribe, ring the notification bell, comment down below if you like, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!